Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well. So in this session, I'm here with the introduction to Siemens and X basics assembly and drafting. So here we'll take the table wise, that is bench wise into account. We'll try to assemble the components by using the Siemens and X CAD platform, and we'll also deal with the assembly drafting. The basics of assembly drafting will deal. So I had covered the same sessions on other softwares like SolidWorks, CREO, 3D Experience, as well as the Fusion 360. So you can refer the same thing. Okay, so this is the user interface. So you can use the control and shortcut to access the platforms like the template. So this is the assembly template which I had selected. I'll just name the assembly as bench voice, and you can just open the component from here and you can preview the component. Just click on this and you could see the preview, right? And you can just place it. So we have the option in this location. You can select the absolute COC and you can even reverse the direction, and you can even use the orient along with the coordinate system. You can try these things. The first component, okay? So if you click on apply, so for the first component it will ask this one. So you have just added the component to the assembly. Do you want to create a fixed constraint? So I'll say yes, this is the first component, right? Yep, so this is the first component. We are done with this. I'll browse for the next component. You can see the preview of all the components. I'd like to add this one, the sliding jaw. I'll click on OK and you will have it here. If you want to move this, we have the placement option move. You can use these 3D compass to move your component along XYZ direction, translation and rotation. Okay. Yeah, so now I'd like to add the constraint. Switch to the constraint. We have these all the options: displacement, fix, align. Okay, this is the touch and align. There are two options in it. So I'd like to show this one, align, with respect to the axis. You just hover on the circular object, so you'll get the axis as well. So if you just select it, it will give you the selection option. From there you can choose the axis. The first one is there. We applied it, right? According to the concentric relation, the axis alignment, it will only move towards this direction. So even it can rotate along the y-axis, sorry, x-axis and z-axis. To align it, I'll use the touch meet this space and this space. Now that got also added. Now I'd like to move it and place it inside. You can try along z-axis and y-axis, it won't move. Along x-axis it can only, you can't even rotate it. Fine. So like this, you can assign the basic mates for the components. So I'll simply click on OK. I'm done with this component. So the next component you can add. So you can't even move it like this. If you want to move, you can use the move component tool and you can simply select the object. You can use the specify orientation and drag it according to the constraint which you have defined. Now if you want to add the components, we have the add component. You can select this and from here you can open the location, add the next component. So see, this is the jaw plate. I would like to add it. I need two components. Could see, I would like to move it. I'll use the placement option and move along z direction somewhere here. I'll click OK. So if you try to constrain here, it might give you the errors because there are two components got selected. If you even try keep selected, it might not work. So simply click on OK. Now you can simply select the component and you can use the assembly constraint for that particular component. Now here I'd like to use the same, the touch and align. So axis to axis, I'd like to specify this face and this face first, the touch, and then this axis inside one. You can even select this face, it will give you the selection tab. From there you can select the axis as well, shortcut. Okay, and here I'd like to just select this axis and this is done. Okay, yep. I can even use the same assembly constraint to assemble one more, or else you can again cancel that particular tool tab. And let me just rotate this component here and use the move component activate the compass by just selecting the specify orientation, rotate your component according to the requirement, and move it like this. And now activate the assembly constraint and just select the faces. This is touch mate. Now the align mate with respect to this axis, and here these two axes. Okay, here I might need to remove this mate. You can reset it, or else you can switch to the mate tab from the feature manager tree, and you can just delete that mate, or you can edit the mate if possible. Better way is to simply reset and assign the mate here only if you make some mistakes while assigning the mates. Okay, yep, so this is done. Now you can place this particular component, drag it a certain distance like this. The location is fine. Now if you want to hide the all the mates, you can use this option, display constraints. You can hide it up. Okay, if you want, you can turn it on by using the same option. You can see the mates now. If you want, you can simply double click or right click and edit the definition, and you can change the mates if needed. Well, we'll add the next components. So I'd like to add this Y screw. By default, 2 component got selected, right? So I'll make it 1. Fine. I'll move it. So I'll switch to constraint, and I'll switch back to the move. Yeah, now the compass got activated. You can rotate it. Yeah, now I'll assign the align mate, this axis and this axis. This mate is fine. So one more mate I need to assign. So that is somewhat distance mate. So for that, I'll move this component somewhere away. Constraint, we have these things. So I'll close it and I'll reopen the mates. And from here, I'd like to add the distance mate. This face, and inside starting your face, distance is activated. It is 154. I don't want that much. I'll specify manually it is 25 for me here. Okay, and simply apply it. Now it got activated. Now try to move the component. We'll get to know how exactly the assemble components will move. Yeah, so next component, if you want to place it, you can use the select object, and you can simply hover on the graphics area to place it wherever you want. Sometimes component will not be placed automatically. Sometimes you need to use the select object and place the components. Okay, yeah, so I'll place it. Now I'll switch to constraint. I'll add simply directly align axis to axis. Hover on the face, so automatically it will snap you the axis. You can place it. Now I'd like to move it inside. So practically this is movable now, so I don't want to fix it. So this is fine. You can see with respect to the constraints which we have given, entire jaw, screw and the plates will also move. Now I'll add the handle ball. The location, I'll place it here. You can just align your component. Why aligning is required is sometimes if you assign the mates will be reversed. So again, if you want to make the changes, you need to flip it and all. So simply better align with respect to the requirement and made it. It's a kind of shortcut. Okay, it's not mandatory. You can try it. Now this axis to this particular axis. Oh yeah, I need one more. So I'd like to add the component again. So these are the options available: add, create new components. If you want to, you can try later on. I'll open the same ball, handle ball, and I'll assign the mates. I'll place it somewhere here in the beginning, and you just place it according to the placement required. It's an access to access mate again to align it. That's done. Finally, I need to add one more component. I'll just open this one, that is collar. I'll place it somewhere here. This axis to this axis reference. I would like to move it. It is hidden somewhere inside. You could see everything is moving now. No issues. According to the mates we have assigned, that is the constraint we have assigned, it is moving. No issues. I'd like to add one more constraint, that is touch. So these two faces, I would like to reverse it. You can use this reverse tool. Okay, done. So you can simply move it, place it wherever you need it. Okay, done. So this is how you can use the simple assembly constraints inside the Siemens NX assembly workbench. Okay, these are the different tabs. For the feature tab, these are the part navigation tabs and all the camera orientations. If you want to assign the material, everything you can do it here. That is out of this particular syllabus which we are covering here. It will go beyond the scope, so I'll cover these things later on. So I'd like to add the drafting for this particular assembly. You can use the application and drafting. While doing it, you're gonna have the use template option. So you're gonna have the sheet standard. I would like to use the even size. I'll simply see these are the options: the projection, third angle, and first angle. By default it is third angle. You can even change it later on. Okay, and these are the options. So you can add the issued, the first issued, drawn by, checked by, approved by, and all. Okay, by default if you want. And you can even customize your template, the sheet formats and all later on. So we'll cover that one in the upcoming sessions. So here this is fine. Okay, it is by default third angle projection. Well, so now if you want to add the views, you can use the view creation wizard and the base view options. I'll use the base view creation wizard, and from here you can just switch to options. We have the different option and we have the orientation. So right now I'll use the customized view instead of selecting these things. So you can use this orient view. You can rotate your model, align it with respect to the requirement, and you simply click on OK so that you can have that particular oriented view. Okay, these are the layout options, and here in the options you can change it to shaded mode, wireframe mode, and all. And if you want to set the scale here, you can do it. Okay, and this is the part selection. So instead of if you want to add the single parts, you can even do it. Yep, so I'll simply add this view now. So this view has the not the colored view. So what I'll do is I'll simply edit this, right click and use the edit option. You can even use the settings, and from here I'd like to use this one, the shading here, the fully shaded option, apply. Okay, now this particular the bounding box area, so if you want to avoid it, you can go to the menu, preferences. From here you can switch to the drafting, and here views and workflow. I'll just turn off the border. Okay, now this border gone. Sometimes you might face the issue for this, so if you want to remove it, you can use this options. Okay, from preferences you can turn it off. If you want to move it, just hover on the corners, you'll get it. So now I'd like to increase the scale of it. What you can do is, from settings you can't access it, so what I'll do is I'll simply edit this option, and from here you can use this options. Okay, 2:1, this is fine. Well, now I'd like to add the BOM table. You can use this part list and simply add it here. If you want to change the size, double click or right click and use the properties settings, and here you have the columns and the lettering options. So lettering, I'll increase it to 8, and you could see the size got increased. I'll close it and I'll rearrange it. You can use this drag option to place your columns required. And here if you just double click on the corner, top corner, you have the part list up and down. In the common we have the header location. I want it to be above part number, part name, quantity, header, and align it. Okay, so now the ballooning option, I want to use this one, so you can select the BOM from the graphics area, and if you simply hit on green check, it will update it. You could see the balloon, the size of these things is bit small. So what I would like to do is I'll select all the balloons and I'll right click, and or else you can use the properties settings, and here you can change the font size, height, as well as the balloon option. Here the diameter of the balloon, I'd like to increase it to 20. That's fine. Okay, can even set it the arrow lines and all, so I'm not going to set it. I'll just keep it default. Now you can simply drag them and align it like these. Okay, let's say if you want to align this somewhere else, if you want to place this actor here, you just double click and place it. You click on the location where you want to place it, like this, in the graphics area. And here also I'll do the same thing. Just double click and hover on this location. Can even orient it like this. And same thing for this. Double click somewhere here. Okay. Can even use the magnetic lines and align it with respect to the alignments and all straight lines and all. You can do it later on. So if you want to do it, you can try later. Okay. Yeah. This is the basics. Now in the part list, that is the BOM table, if you want to add the material and the mass, something else, what you can do, that will explain later. So right now I would like to have the all the views, the front, side, and top views. So what I'll do is I'll use this base view. The scaling, I'll reduce it to somewhat 1:2, and I'll place it, and the projected view automatically accessed. You can simply use it, or else you can use the projected view tool, and according to that you can place it. Close it and simply rearrange the placement of the views. The border got automatically inactive. Remember, if you want to turn off, you need to go to menu and this options. Now here in the parts list, I want to add one more column. You can just use this option, right click on the column and use the create column at the right side, and here I'll use the settings. From here, if you switch to the column, okay, in the settings we have this option, attribute name. If you click on this icon, it will take you to the attributes, the mass, layer, length. Here material we have, but here we don't have the material option because we haven't assigned any material here. What I'll do is I'll cancel everything. I'll open any of the components. So this one, body, I'll open a new window, and here I'd like to add the material. So I'll go to this menu tool and here tools, and from here we have the assign materials option from the material drop down. So here we have material and assign materials. Okay, here you'll have all the material data. So from here you can choose it. Like to assign the stainless steel, You can select any of the format, grade, and just select the component and apply. Click OK. Now we have assigned the material, right? Now you can switch to the drafting, and here I will simply right click and use the properties here, and in the column and from the attributes I'll go to the drop down, and here you can see the material. Click OK. Now if you want to change the text format, it is quite small. You can select everything again, go to the settings, the edit settings. From here you can use the lettering and change it to 8. It is by bold by default. You can change it later on. Okay, so like this you can customize your BOM table, that is the part list table. So this is about the basics about assembly and the assembly drafting. I hope you understood these things well. So I hope by just referring this video you can able to create the basic assemblies and the drafting for the assemblies. Yep, so that's all about the session. So if you want to learn other softwares as well on the same modules, on the same models, you can refer the different playlists of SolidWorks, CREO, and as well as the Fusion 363 experience to learn other contents with the same models. Well, that's all about the session, guys. Thank you. Stay tuned. Bye everyone.